So, just going to have a quick look what's happening in southern and eastern Africa. First of all, thank you to Finding Petroleum for inviting me to talk today. Here's a location map. This is what we refer to as southern Africa. It's South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, essentially defined as anything south of the Walvis Ridge here on the west, and over as far as the Durban Basin. Now, for us, East Africa goes from Mozambique all the way up to Somalia, including any of the offshore islands up the coast. So that's the region. We're going to talk about a very quick look at some of the highlights in each of these areas. However, as this slide will show, to date we have 4 videos that just cover the Namibia region. You can see Luderitz Basin, the Venus 1 discovery, the Graff 1, and various updates and highlights. We've also got one in the Utanika Basin, we've got one in Mozambique, the Rovuma Basin, and one looking at the Makoyu well, which is actually just spudded in the last couple of days. And also we have one on the Africa Oil Week, which I'll be attending. If anybody's going there, I look forward to meeting you. So in total, something like 1.5 hours of YouTube videos that are free online and you can get to. So really, we start in Namibia, and we're going to put a little map up here just to show where we are as we move around Africa. For reference, we're in the Orange Basin, and this is the Shelful area, and there have been a number of discoveries, a couple of gas discoveries here, and some oil was found nearer to the coast. But really, what's been happening well, it's earlier this year, in fact, were the 2 wells, the 2 discoveries at Graff and Venus. And certainly we see the enablers for this is deep water drilling, high quality seismic, which has helped defining the plays, and also concentrating on the sort of the deeper water, the large scale fan sands and turbidites. So that's the setting that we're looking to. If we start by looking at Venus, Venus is in block 2913B. It's operated by Total Energies. Now, here's the small little map here showing, well, the block, but also the extent of the 3D. We can see this is the extent of the Venus anomaly, and you can see that covers somewhere in the region of 600 square kilometers. This is a potentially huge find. And here's another look. This is from TGS data, and you can see Venus up here, but you can also see there's a number of other anomalies in the region. So basically, it's an amplitude play, it's a basin floor, sand Albion-Aptian age with a DHI, which conforms to structural closure. Now, resources, it's early days. I mean, I've seen numbers quoted of anywhere between 2 and 8 billion barrels. We always say that, one discovery well, we look to get some appraisal wells in the ground just to check how big it is. But certainly our expectation, like so many others, is that it's a very, very significant and large find. But it was actually 2 weeks before that Graff was announced as a discovery. So here's the Venus 1 well here, and just over to the east of it, here's the Graff 1 and the Graff 2, which is also known as Lorona, I believe. You can see on the seismic line here from Searcher that the Graff play is actually a little more proximal. It's a little stratigraphically higher, a little shallower. And here's the sort of Venus play. But what I particularly like is, we're into the deep water, and here we are, these fantastic toe thrusts that we see imaged here. I think I've counted 23 of them on this one section. And, bear that image in mind, because we're going to go to the other side of the continent in a few minutes. We're going to go to the Rovuma Basin, and we're going to see the same feature over there. These are the plays. This is operated by Shell. And we do have ongoing appraisal drilling. The next one we're going to have a quick look at is we're going to move further down and cross over the border, still within the Orange Basin, and go into South Africa. And this is the Gazania well. It's operated by Eco Atlantic, and this is the rig, the Island Navigator, that's actually going to be drilling the well shortly. On the map here, this is the Hibabisi gas field. Well, it's not actually developed yet, but it's stranded. And this is what's being targeted here. So it's the AJ Graben here. There is the AJ discovery well drilled back in 1988, found some 36 API gravity oil. And this is the well. I don't fully understand this Namakwa. We seem to be drilling some ways down dip on this geoseismic section, whereas the body of it seems to be in this region here. But presumably this trap is to test this downthrown fault here, which at sort of around about 2,200 meters. So we'll see how that well goes, and we'll be monitoring it and putting out updates when available. Another video that we recently did was to look at the Luderitz Basin, and really the reason for Luderitz is that there is only effectively one deep penetration in this entire basin. And this cross section up here, we can see there's the Orange Basin, and then we come over the Kudu Arch, and here's the Luderitz, and then over the Luderitz Arch into the Walvis. And okay, there does seem to be a thicker section here at this particular point within the Orange Basin, but many of the features and of the petroleum system that works in Orange Basin would appear to be present in the Luderitz, and for that matter into the Walvis Basin. I guess formerly there was some concern about source rocks both being deposited and being preserved in an oxic open water environment south of the Walvis Ridge, but certainly finds like Graff and like Venus show that there is a fantastic source rock out here, and there have been shows in other wells like at Wingat, etc. A seismic line here shows that basically it's many sort of tertiary and Cretaceous sediments. The Orange Basin here, certainly a lot thicker Cretaceous, whereas as you come over this Kudu Arch, this is the location of the Moosehead 1 well, and then you go into the Luderitz Basin, and it would appear that we've got many of the same components in there. So, things very, very exciting. I think there's going to be a lot of activity. There's going to be a lot of licensing that's actually ongoing at the minute in Namibia, and lots of plays as well. I think this diagram is originally from Serica, and you can see that they've got these basin floor fan sands, that they're identifying these amplitude anomalies throughout the section in here. There's also these slope fans, and again some anomalies identified, and also potential for contorites. There's a carbonate play. There's a sort of the aeolian play here, which is more of the sort of kudu type find. So quite a lot of different plays. Namibia is going to be transformed. What's happening at the minute? Well, right now we know about the Graff discovery. Larona, haven't heard anything much about this well, but down at Africa Oil Week next week, hope to be hearing the latest news and also the future plans for drilling in the region. And we believe that the appraisal wells are expected to kick off as soon as next quarter. For Venus, a similar story. We've got the Venus 1 discovery, which was, again, February time this year. Major discovery, got everybody talking. I mean, I think the video we put out has had 22,000 viewers, and we still have 500 viewers a month just looking at a 10-month-old video. And we also believe the appraisal wells, they'll be kicking off here in fourth quarter. If we go on, we've talked about Gazania. That's going to be drilled just across the border into South Africa. We'll look in a minute at the onshore scene, and this is Recon Africa. Basically, this 8-2 well in the Kavango Basin, that's actually operating at TD as we speak. I haven't seen any announcements about the sort of logging and testing program, but hopefully there'll be an update from Recon Africa before too long, and we'll put that out when it's available. Over and above that, we were tracking from some time ago the Welwitschia Deep and the Osprey wells. These are up in the Walvis Basin. Suspect that the prioritization has gone, and attention's turned to Gazania for now. But hopefully these will be opportunities that will be looked at before too long. So we will update those, and we'll put out a new video when we get significant new information on the area. Jumping down, and you can see we've now just come right down to the just off the southern tip of South Africa to the Utanika Basin, the South Utanika Basin. The gas fields and oil fields here up on the shelf region have been known for a long, long time. and they've been feeding the gas to liquids plant at Mossel Bay for many years, but they're now very mature. Some have actually ceased production, but it's the finds that have been made here. Again, Total Energies company, the operator down here, and it's in this Padavisi trend. It's called Padavisi because it looked, the shape of the basin is like a tadpole, and that's the African word for tadpole, Padavisi, in this region. So you can see that this is the area. The two wells, the two discoveries, Brul Pada and Leopard, they have drilled into this anomaly here. And you can see, what I particularly like about this line is that you can see that there are a number of analogous prospects which are yet to be tested. So it will hopefully be more exploration drilling in this fairly challenging metocean conditions, very, very strong currents down here and some pretty foul weather in wintertime. Moving on and jumping now right up to the Rovuma Basin, and we start with this map here, and just to set the scene, here's Mozambique and Tanzania, and here's the border here, essentially running along the Rovuma River. You can see that, well, in Mozambique, the early exploration was down in the Mozambique coastal basin down to the south, and a number of discoveries there, and an export of gas down to South Africa. But it was really with the Manazi Bay discovery back in 1982 by Wentworth Resources that kind of turned attention into this region. It's really the offshore region, and in particular areas 1 and 4, where Anadarko and E&I, they got involved, and it was round about the sort of the 2010, 2011. The drilling kicked off, and really the play opener out here was the Windjammer one, which is shown on this seismic line here. It's actually one of these 5, 6, 7, 8 fields. But Orca, Mamba, and Coral, huge finds, huge accumulations, and likewise been going on since to find lots of accumulations offshore. In total, probably around about 150 TCF of gas in this region. Only one of these is actually about to start production, which is this Coral Sul, and this is the vessel that's going to be going out there. It's floating LNG. Anticipated the first cargo will be in the next quarter. So a lot happening in this last quarter, and it's going to transform the economy of Mozambique when the production comes on stream. So, like we saw earlier, here's these tow thrusts. We saw them in the Orange Basin. Here we are seeing in the Rovuma Basin on the other side of the continent. These are absolutely fantastic features here. But to date, the accumulations have all been found here out in the less tectonically deformed and areas at the very front of the tow thrusts, and you can see that we've got seismic anomalies here down in the Paleocene, the Oligocene, and also up into the Miocene. Now, you know, some of these have been tested here at Orca. You know, some of these anomalies here, I kind of suspect that this would need some very special seismic processing because these angles are so high. I think these may be very, very significant amplitude anomalies and could be huge gas columns. But for now, you know, we question in our video in this region, well, do we need to do much more exploration here? There is so much gas. The next thing is to get some of it to market. So that's a quick look at Rovuma. Moving onshore now and back across here to onshore Namibia and this Recon Africa. I mean, they've been drilling a couple of wells, 2 last year, the 6-1 and 6-2 wells here, reported to have good shows, oil and gas shows. I don't think anything's actually been flowed to surface yet. The latest well is the Mankindina 8-2 well. I understand it's operating at TD. Its evaluation is ongoing. So it's kind of Karoo age, so sort of Permian, and then goes into sort of Proterozoic sediments in here. So very, very different geology to any of the coastal areas. Be interested to see. I think in the news last week, Namcor sold 5% of their carried interest to Recon Africa. I'm not sure what that means about how Namcor see this block and license and opportunity, but anyway, that's what's happened, and we'll await news from the well and see what Recon Africa have to report. This is kind of showing the setting. So the Kavango Basin is the name given to this Karoo Age basin. The bigger picture here, it's known as the Awombo Basin, and you can see there have been a number of wells in this region. Some of them are strat tests, some of them quite shallow, but this is the basin margin that's being tested here by Recon Africa. So some of the challenges in this region. So one of the challenges we see it, is that there are huge tranches that have been awarded to companies, and it's kind of similar to if we look across to Guyana, Suriname. You've got the Starbrook block and the Corentyne block, some very, very huge tranches. And the national governments are beholden to the operators and the joint ventures to actually set the pace of the developments. Now, you've got Venus here. Down here, Total Energies have also got Brule Padda and Leopard and a bunch of other discoveries. So you're going to get this, what is the priority, the national prioritization versus, the distribution of the corporate budget, the allocation of funds around the world, because, Total are involved in huge numbers of areas, so that's going to affect the development timetable. And one thing that we didn't mention in talking about the Rovuma Basin, I forgot to mention it, was that there was to be an onshore LNG plant, and that was going to be the Mozambique LNG. Of course, there was some terrorism that's gone on. The blocks or the project's kind of gone into force majeure, and it's going to be at least 2023 before that project resumes. So that's one of the key things in the area. So takeaways: Namibia, transformational change is on the way. Rovuma, that's going to start producing and earning money for Mozambique shortly. South Africa, it looks like there needs to be some more exploration appraisal drilling just to understand, work out the economics of that, and to reach a critical mass to actually bring the gas and condensate back to the beach. But there will be quite a number of deep water drill ships heading to this region. A lot of it is in deep water. These are some of the names of the prospects, and what we suggest is if you don't know these prospects, where they are, what they are, come and talk to us. We have all the information on those. We have all the information on just about everything in the region. This is just a look at some of the troves. If you want to find out any more, stop me at Africa Oil Week in Cape Town, early October 2022. I look forward to seeing you back on the channel. Stay safe. Bye for now.